All right, today we're looking at section 7.2.3 and we're looking at how to graph logarithms. So we're looking at graphing logarithm investigation. So in order to graph logs with different bases, we cannot simply substitute numbers in for x and y. We will follow these steps. First thing we're going to do is find the inverse of the log function. This function will always be exponential. All right, so right here we have y equals log base 2 of x. And so I'm going to flip my x and my y. And I'll get x equals log base 2 of y. Again, if it helps, you can write the log on the left. And then when I do my circle, I would get 2 to the x equals y inverse. So that's the inverse, 2 to the x. Which we can make an xy table for the inverse or the exponential. That's pretty easy. So for this one, I'm going to go -2 to 2. And actually for this one and this one only, as you're going to do some others later, I'm going to go a little bit larger. Do 3 and 4. Okay. So again, I don't like to do my negatives right away. So 2 to the 0 is 1. Anything to 0 is 1. 2 to the first is 2. 2 to the second is 4. 2 to the third is 8. And 2 to the fourth is 16. 2 to the negative first, I'd have to move that to the bottom, so 1/2. And 2 to the negative second would be 1/4. So I have my 2 to the x, my inverse or my exponential table. And to get my log table, so this will be the y equals log base 2 of x table. That's the inverse, they're inverses of each other, so we just switch the x and the y values. So switch the x and y values on the inverse table to get the log table. And then we're going to plot the points on the log table. So if this is -2 1/4, I have 1/4 -2, 1/2 -1, 1 0 2 1 4 2 8 3 and 16 4. And then I will graph those points. So 1/4 -2, 1/2 -1, 1 0. And I'm going to go by ones here. Ones on the x and the y axis. And then I have 2 1, 4 2, 8 3, and 16 4. All right, so there is my graph. I'm labeling that y equals log base 2 of x. So as we look at our domain and range now, our domain is a little tricky because we don't go left forever. There is an asymptote here. It's never going to touch an x value of 0. Kind of like there's an asymptote on the x-axis for exponentials, there will be a y-axis on the, there will be an asymptote on the y-axis for logs because they're inverses. So if the one has an asymptote on the x-axis, the inverse will have an asymptote on the y-axis. So it's getting really, really close to an x value of 0, but not touching it. So I'm putting a parenthesis with 0, and then it will keep going on forever to the right. For the range, it is going to go down forever and up forever, so it will be all real numbers, or -infinity to infinity. Our x-intercept is 1 0. It is never going to touch the y-axis because of the asymptote, so there is none. And then we have an asymptote, just a vertical one. So I'll write vertical asymptote at x equals 0. All right, so then what you're going to do is on the back with people in your group, it says, how will the graph of log y equals log base 4 of x be different than the graph of y equals log base 2? What about log base 8 of x? How are they similar? Think about the shapes, the domain, the range, the intercepts, and the asymptotes. The back of this page will help you answer these questions. So each person in your group is going to pick a log with a different base to investigate. And you will then share your log tables with your group. And in the end, on our graph, in our graph on the back here, you are going to have one graph with 3 or 4 log graphs on it. Okay. Yeah, so it's it. All right. And so on the back here, you can already graph y equals log base 2. So everyone has that. So what log base 2 was on the other side, so it was, I'm going by ones. Log base 2 was 1/4 -2, 1/2 -1, 1 0, 2 1, 4 2, 8 3, and then 16 4. So that is, again, the log base 2. We already did that. And label it. You may want to use different colors or just make sure they're labeled. So someone in your group will do log base 3, log base 4, log base 5. You can do your work here, and then the people in your group will just tell you the log tables, and you can write them off to the side and graph them. When you're finished, you're going to answer these questions.